Welcome to Yokai Watch Y Academy episode 54, aka Season 2, episode 2. Today's episode is a weird one, because of course, it's the second episode in, and I already feel like this is a weird episode. Our high school demands total withdrawal from middle school is the name in English, or Chutobu no Sotaigaku o Yokyu Sudu. So, like I touched on, this episode feels really weird. Basically, students like Junpei, the middle school students, have been basically requested to leave the school by the high school student council president, I think Suguru Gomanda Sensei? No, Senpai. This is how you can tell I've been out shoveling snow all day. I mistakenly said sensei instead of senpai. Basically, they started kind of banning the vulgar middle school students to a certain degree, or what they deem to be vulgar or wrong or bad. It ranged from literally anything, like, oh, Junpei farted, Junpei is automatically horrible. Also, this episode has more farts in it than normal, but it doesn't matter. I've given up caring about it because these actually apply to the comedy plot. The episode basically starts off where the last one left off, with Gomanda-san yelling into the microphone. We get a flashback of Lime, basically belittling the principal of the middle school. And then Junpei, Motaro, and Sandayu confront him. And then we get Cowboy Junpei that farts. I mean, this was to play off something. It's supposed to be funny. It may be funny to a younger audience. But Ronto, playing the ever casual role of the guy who's supposed to be like the straight-faced character, kind of steps in and tries to mediate what was going to become a feud between Junpei and Suguru Gomanda. But because sequence break, Junpei needs to go to the restroom during class. I think he needs to pee or something. The high school sends in 3 students, and basically the teacher's there doing nothing. The middle school teacher should have more power than just 3 high school students. Long story short, there were like pee puns and like pee stuff going on. Like, Junpei drinks tea even though Junpei has to pee. Pee. And then the butler pours tons of glasses of, or cups of tea. Junpei has to mad dash to the bathroom. Apparently, QB Senpai gets banned for being idolized by the girls, because apparently that's the situation. And then we have a scene where Junpei and Motaro basically get chiropractored by a teacher because they yawned during class and weren't sitting at the proper sitting position. We also get a bunny wrap, because why wouldn't we? And apparently the middle school students cannot get food anywhere, not even in their cafeteria, Mogu McDonald's, or Mog McDonald's, the curry place, not anywhere. Luckily, there's a guy selling potatoes. I know some of you might not get the potato thing, like why there's a random guy selling potatoes. It's actually kind of common in Japan for hot potatoes to be served in like colder climate areas or sold via a truck or a stall. Just know it's something common and like cultural. It's just like for at least the Western world, like food trucks and like stationary food vendors that come to schools and work sites like once a week to sell certain food. Because that potato guy probably isn't there every day. Also, there's a person in a cat costume that sells potatoes in Japan, so that may have been a reference to that, even though the guy was not in a cat costume. Basically, Motaro and Junpei fart in the scene that happens after this, but that's okay because they had potato belly. That's what explains that. And they decide to upload the fart onto their homepage because the high school is just weird. Here I was giving Junpei a bad rap. These high school students and their kinks. I'm kidding. Basically, Lime, aka Greenpay, aka Midori-kun. Yes, I'm calling him Midori because he's green, the word Midori is green. But we're seen transitioning to Suguru Gomanda, basically kind of going ham on a high school student and sending him basically to the gulag. Our wonderful YSP club shows up at school, Junpei with a mustache, Fubuki with a cute umbrella, and honestly, those two actually look pretty good together, and both Motaro and Sanayu were kind of dressed up a little bit too. But apparently individuality is frowned upon by high school students, so that gets stomped out. Ranto tries to confront Gomanda, and Gomanda becomes his Y hero form. I guess it's a Y hero form. I mean, I wouldn't really call him a Y hero. And, like, the naming convention kind of infers that his form is like a counterpart of Fyudou Mio, but I don't want to dive too much into that before we analyze stuff. Let me look at the picture I have. It's Fyudou Raizer. So, Fyudou Raizer. So, I don't even know how to classify this form. Until we know, like, its true connection to Fyudou Mio, it's hard to say how exactly this counterpart interacts within the whole scheme of that universe. But do know that Fyudou Mio is now secretly relevant again. So Wild Boy gets his butt kicked and is foddered for a little while because Blue Pond isn't back from his vacation. So Wild Boy continues to get foddered, other stuff continues to happen. Like Wild Boy tries to shoot a big missile but fails. And Junpei basically is kind of beaten. Blue Pond shows up and says, "Hey, I got gifts. I brought souvenirs, guys. Do you love me?" I added the "do you love me" part because I feel like Blue Pond should have said something like that to get over the fact that he went out of his way to bring omiyage. I mean, he's a cat. He's a blue cat, which is the best color of cat. But I do digress. This fight between Fyudou Raizer and Wild Boy was just a quick skirmish, and Junpei gets Mekatio ready and then becomes Earthwalker Noah. And I kind of feel like Earthwalker is almost irrelevant since Black Cat is a thing, but I feel like Black Cat is only going to be used for tougher opponents. But we can assume, just by comparison here, Fyudou Raizer and Earthwalker Noah are about on par with each other. Because if you watch the fight, neither really has a true upper hand. Like, they both take damage. And Lime turns one of the tanks into a Onryo. And also, Lime. Like, I know Lime's not a real person, but for crying out loud, Lime. This is the lamest, or one of the lamest Onryo. The tank holds no grudge, does not fit what a true Onryo should be, but that is my only gripe. But going on, Earthwalker Noah quickly dispatches the tank. Luckily, there was no healer that needed to be dispatched or anything like that. I do want to comment on like the pacing of the episode. It felt a little bit more solid. And when I say solid, it felt consistent. I didn't feel bored at certain parts of the episode. Like, you know how sometimes you just end up daydreaming like mid-episode for certain series where your mind kind of travels a little bit? That did not happen with this. But the realization that the high school power scaling, if that's the guy that's supposed to be like the head of the student council, it kind of just makes me think that the tier listing for Y Academy is going to be kind of strange once yokai tubers start doing it, because I don't know if you want to base stuff off of power scaling before transformation or power scaling after transformation for people. Personally, I would do a little bit of the both, because certain people have power within the human world and then within the Y hero spectrum as well. Also, Ronto tries to step in to the fight, but sure, Glifter, whatever it is, Lime stops that from happening. Ashura Gliffer. So, yeah, that's the thing that was stopped from happening. So now, I honestly would like to see a fight between Lime and Ronto. I feel like that's going to be something we eventually do see. I believe we shouldn't 100% trust Lime. We don't know Lime's true intentions. We don't know if Lime has ulterior motives, or that if Lime wants to be mixed with Lemon and become Sprite. Okay, that's part's a joke. Do not hate me for adding a little joke. The series is now a comedy. I can do that. But everyone seems happy that the middle school is now back under middle school control, kind of, sort of. And Lime kind of picks on Suguru Gomanda about the fight, saying, kind of implying a little bit, you went easy on him, or something along those lines, like kind of ragging on him since he did not go full gear or like full power. Overall, episode was confusing a little bit. It did keep a consistent pace, which was good. It's only confusing because my Japanese is not perfect, and I know I do make mistakes in translation, and I apologize for that. It's just something that happens. Overall, this is a good episode. I don't even know how to grade this other than saying it was alright, despite being a little confusing. Animations were crisp, and that's it. You guys have a great rest of your morning, afternoon, and or evening. Bye bye.